I'm here to bring you a book haul. As you know, if you've been around here, part of my 2025 goals are actually reading down the books that I own and not buying a lot, but I have some here that I bought, some books that were gifted to me by a friend because he didn't want them anymore, and then some books that I got from the library that I'm very excited about. So I thought I'd start with the books that were gifted to me, and then we'll go from there. So the first book that I was excited to get, because this one has been on my TBR, I almost bought it at a bookstore a while ago. It's called The Three, and it's by Sarah Lotz. This is a book where there are like these plane crashes that happen, and in 3 out of the 4 plane crashes, like one child survives, and it's just about people and how they react to this strange situation of, you know, all these plane crashes happening so close together, children surviving. People think like maybe they're like the bringers of the apocalypse, and people kind of freak out. And I don't know that I'll like this one, but I have wanted to give it a try. I think it's the start of a series. I don't know how long the series is, but it sounds too interesting to not try to me. And then next is a book that I had years and years ago and then got rid of it because I thought I wasn't going to read it because I thought it would scare me too much. But then my friend read it, and I've read some more of his books since then, and that's Stephen King's The Shining. I am terrified of this movie. I've seen it, I think, twice, and I never really want to watch it again. I don't know why I watched it a second time, because it terrified me the second time I watched it. But I do really love the story. The story is fascinating about this, like, haunted hotel, and this man and his family are caretaking it over, like, the off-season, and scary things happen. And I know that the book is supposed to be very different from the movie, so I'm hoping it'll be, like, less terrifying. I don't know if that'll be the case, but I do want to give it a try. And my friend who read this also said that Dr. Sleep, the sequel, is actually really good as well. So if I really like it, I could read the sequel. And then he gave me The Mercy of the Gods by James S.A. Corey. I tried reading Leviathan's Wake. I got about halfway through, and I did not like it. I did not get along with really anything. I liked the weird zombie goo slime situation. Like, I was intrigued in that, but I feel like the story was not focused on that enough to keep my attention, and I hated the main characters, and I did not like the writing, and I have a sneaking suspicion that I won't like this because I think that I don't like Daniel Abraham's writing, and he's part of the duo that makes up James S.A. Corey. I have read 2 other Daniel Abraham books before, Age of Ash and Blade of Dream, and Age of Ash was okay. I think it was like a 3.5, and then I read Blade of Dream, and it was one of the worst books I've ever read in my entire life. I did not care for any of it, and so because I also couldn't finish Leviathan's Wake, I'm not holding out hope for this, but the premise sounds interesting, so I'm like, if they're not piecemealing the interesting parts of the story like they did in Leviathan's Wake, I might have a chance at liking this. And then he gifted me 2 books in a series that he finished. The series is not finished, but he gifted me the 2 books that he had read, and that's The First Binding and The Doors of Midnight by R.R. Vierdy. And these are chunky books. I think this one has smaller pages because they're both like 800 pages. Yeah, they're like the same length, almost exactly. This one just has thicker pages, and this one has like thinner pages. So it kind of is a weird choice because they're going to be the same length. I'm not sure why they did that way, but I guess they just didn't want to have massive books all the time. So I think think this is going to go on my shelf for quite a few years because I cannot figure out how long this series is supposed to be, and I don't want to start this series until I know how long I can be expecting to wait, because he's taken a bit of time in writing them. He's not like popping them out once every couple years. I think he's kind of taken his time with it, and I know there is maybe a release date for the third one. So this is supposed to be like a Name of the Wind, basically copycat, is what I've heard, especially this first book. I think it gets a little different as in the second book. But my friend said this is almost exactly like Name of the Wind, except for if Kvothe was a more likable main character. Now, I'm not sure if I'll actually like that because I found Kvothe to be a very compelling character. I do not need to like characters to want to read about them. So I am afraid that this is going to feel like a copycat, but be less compelling, because if sometimes a likable character can be a little bit boring at times. I'm not saying that he will be, but I'm just not sure. And knowing that it's a copycat, I'm afraid that that's going to bug me. And I'm going to be frustrated that R.R. Veerey took too much from Name of the Wind. So I think this is one where it's like, I don't want to read this right now, even though they're massive, and it'd be nice to like read them and get rid of them if I don't like it. I may actually try a chapter at some point just because they are massive. So if I don't want to read them, I can get rid of them and not store them forever. But if I am interested in reading them, which I think I am, at least in giving them a try, I want to wait until the series is closer to being completed. So these are probably going to go on my shelf for quite a while. Okay, those are all the books that he gifted me. He was doing a big clear out of his shelves. And then I have some books that I bought. I got to go on a book shopping trip with Adriana at Carbon Bonded Books, and it was so much fun. We got to go to the Powell's on Hawthorne. Oh, because she lives in Portland. So we got to go to the smaller Powell's on Hawthorne, and then Backstory Books and Yarn, which they do like used books and new books, and then yarn and other crafting supplies as well. So we went to two places. I bought all these at Powell's. I didn't find anything at Backstory this time, but I'm excited about these. So this one I think sounds interesting. It's supposed to be like a historical novel with some magical realism, which I really, really like. It's by Gail Jones, who I had never heard of, but apparently she was like a contemporary of Toni Morrison, and Toni Morrison kind of discovered her and edited her books, and this sounds really interesting. This is the first book she's published in quite a while, and unfortunately, it has terrible reviews on Storygraph. Like, really bad. Like, I think like 2.5 average rating. So I'm a little nervous about that and a little frustrated that I maybe didn't look up the reviews before I bought it, but I still want to give it a try and just hope that I'm like an outlier that likes it, because it does sound interesting. I love magical realism. Then I bought Martha Wells' City of Bones. This sounds interesting. So this is one of her older fantasy works that she wrote years ago, and it's being republished with her Murderbot series kind of taking off. She's been republishing a lot of her older fantasies, which is awesome because I wasn't a huge fan of Murderbot. I actually got quite bored with the novella, so I don't think that one was for me, but I'm hoping her fantasy is for me. And this one sounds really interesting. I'm not going to explain what it is because it's hard to summarize a fantasy world, but it sounds interesting. There's like ancient technology, fanatical cults, and these people like trying to go on an epic quest of some kind, and it just sounds fun, and I'm hoping I enjoy it. And then we have another book that is not going on the read right now pile, but read later, and that is Master of Sorrows by Justin T. Call. So this is basically the story of a Dark Lord before he becomes a Dark Lord. So it's a villain origin story. And that has intrigued me. This was written quite a while ago. It was written back in 2020, and I've kind of kept my eye on it. I don't hear anyone talking about this series on BookTube. I believe there are 3 books, and the 4th book is due to be out at some point in the next couple years, I think. And I couldn't find any information on how long this series was planned to be, which is unfortunate because I would like to know whether or not I can start it so that like I could be ready when the next book is released if we're close to being done. For some reason, I had it in my head that this was going to be like a 7 or 10 book series, but I have no idea if that was just me remembering something from a long time ago, but I think this sounds really good. Like, it's about this orphan boy who's like raised by this wizard and learns magic, but he's like destined to become a Dark Lord. And I think this particular one is like set in a magic school. So it's like learning the magic, and I just think that sounds so good. And I'm excited to have this because I do think it's one I want to give a try at some point. Okay, now at the library, I got 1 novel, and then I got a bunch of graphic novels because over the next couple months, I'm going to be doing quite a few readathons, and having a graphic novel or 2 to slot in, especially when they're competitive readathons, is nice. And I've also been a little bit in a graphic novel mood. So I got 1 novel, and that is A Murder in Time by Julie McElwain. And this is a detective series. This is the first book, and it's about a detective who somehow gets sent back in time, and she ends up solving a mystery like back in time. And I think it's in like London, somewhere in England. She's like an FBI agent. She gets transported back in time and stumbles across a mystery there that she needs to solve. And I'm on a hunt to find a detective series that I love. Everyone that I've tried this year has been a flop so far, but I'm hoping that maybe this one will make the cut. Then I'm continuing reading Vinland Saga. I read 2 of these a while ago. I can't remember exactly when, maybe last summer or something. I read the first 2, and I really enjoyed it. I did not think I would like this series. I actually found myself very compelled by it, and I'm interested to keep going. It has been a long time, so I hope I haven't left it too long, or maybe I'll just like try to look up a summary just to catch myself back up. But I really like it. It reads very quickly because there's a lot of action, so there's not like a ton of words on the pages, and I really enjoy it. It read really quick and it was interesting. And then I found a manga trilogy that is a post-apocalyptic story about a boy and a girl who are stuck together after the apocalypse. It's 3 volumes. It's called The Horizon, and it's by J.H., I believe is the author. I like the writing style. It kind of has like this minimal like writing, so I think these are going to read super quickly. And I looked up some reviews on like what it actually was about, and people said it was really good. So I'm eager to give this a try. And then the final graphic novel series that I got is another completed trilogy, and it's called Invisible Kingdom by G. Willow Wilson and Christian Ward. And these covers were so compelling to me. I think they're so beautiful, and I'm very eager to give this a try. I read G. Willow Wilson's Miss Marvel comic series many years ago, back in like 2015, 2016, I think. And I really enjoyed her writing, and this just seems weird. The art is bright and fun. It looks strange. It's supposed to be about like this mega corporation and this like mega religion that are like clashing in this like distant galaxy. And it's about like two women who kind of get caught in the middle of that clash. And I just think that sounds fascinating and fun. I love a good series that I can read in like a few sections and be done with it. So I'm excited to have this one, and I really am interested in giving it a go. It looks like it could be very fun. So those are all the books that I have. If you have tried any of them, please let me know what you think and which ones you think I should prioritize. I'd be very interested to know what you think. I'm excited about all of them. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.